a little bit, I wanted to ask you, Jason, about the career track to get into the intelligence community. And a lot of people have this vision in your head, like I got to go to Georgetown or whatever the case may be. I got to be a triathlon champion or something like this.
No. No. There's a lot of myths about what it even takes. And to be honest with you, when I first came on board, it was the same way. I was the same exact way. I started college while I was in the Marine Corps and then finished up long after I'd gotten out. And I went to a college in New Jersey, nothing special. And I was sitting in a room. It was before I EOD'd. It was like some big group interview thing. And all these people were talking about, I went to Yale, I went to Brown, all these other things. I'm like, crap, there's no way I'm gonna make it. And I actually said that to my recruiter, and she, this little old lady, looked me in the eye and she's like, don't you ever say that again. She's like, if you're here, it's because we want you. And I was like, okay, all right, calm down. The biggest myth, the two biggest myths are your educational background and your physical fitness. Your educational background, if you have a 4-year degree, depending on the job you want, most jobs require a 4-year degree. Some, I want to say the security police officers and maybe some others don't require it, but if you want to be in the clandestine service, you have to have a 4-year degree. So I would encourage anybody, and it doesn't matter what your degree is in. It helps if it's in international affairs, political science, foreign languages, those sorts of things, but you don't have to, it doesn't have to be in those things. Language, when I was leaving, was becoming a really big thing. So it may be now that usually what happens is you get out of your school, whichever your training is, whether it's a case officer, staff operations officer like I was, things like that, and you will either go to your language school or you can go off right to your first station. I think now they're pushing you to go right to language.
This is what we encountered too, as I was leaving 5th Group, leaving Special Forces, is that they were putting a much bigger emphasis on guys attaining a proficiency in their target language and also keeping it up while they're in group.
Yeah, it's a huge thing, and they dedicate a lot of money to make sure that you have that language down pat. So if you have it coming in, besides the fact that it makes things easier for your career, you can get a bonus, a signing bonus.
Yeah, it's the same thing in SF now.
So there's that. Your education, your language, physically, unless you're going the special activities route, there is no physical requirement. And I don't even know what the physical requirement for special activities would be. I think it's probably not quite what you would have gone through, or Brandon, or somebody who has that background, because they're expecting you to have a certain level of physical fitness. But then again, there are others who work in special activities who are not trigger pullers. So, and that's actually not the majority. That's another misconception, is you go to special activities, that's all you're doing is you're a trigger puller. That's absolutely not true. If you're a paramilitary operations officer, case officer, you will you might do some of the foreign internal defense stuff, training, blah, 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 but you're going to be out there as well doing a tour, meeting a asset in Bulgaria or wherever. You're going to do those things, traditional stuff. So that's really it. And another thing, and so the thing that everybody not forgets, but they kind of neglect, is know what's going on in the world at the time, because they're going to ask you. Like when I came on board, and it may not be the same anymore, I had to write a paper, like a 1 or 2 page paper on a current event, and they didn't tell you what it had to be. They just let you pick it. But I'm pretty sure that a paper on Dennis Rodman in North Korea is probably going to hold a little less weight than the YPG or something like that. So and then know something about the agency. That's another thing they're going to want to know. You're going to be asked at some point, why did you pick us? And if it's because I want to do spy shit, or because, don't you guys issue like a wife when you go overseas? No. Again, when I was interviewing for it, I got a phone call. And this all goes hand in hand, but listen carefully to what you're being told, because there's little clues in there. Like for me, for instance, I had a face-to-face interview, and then I was doing a phone interview. Actually, the phone interview was first. I was in college at the time, so the recruiter said to me, hey, is it okay? Are you going to be available at on Thursday at 7:31 in the morning. I didn't even think about it. I was like, yeah, sure. Are you sure? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna call you then. The night before, it clicked. I was like, 7:31. I need to be on that phone, sitting by that phone at 7:31. Sure enough, 7:31. And she even asked me, do you have a cell phone? Yes. We're gonna use the time on your cell phone. And that's gonna carry throughout your career as well, as a matter of fact. But my phone hit 7:31, it rang. It was her. And she said, I wanted to make sure, number one, that you were good to your word. Number two, that you can keep time, be somewhere on time. And number three, that you listen to what I was saying to you. Because all that plays into when you have to meet an asset and you have a window, and you're telling that person a certain time, if they're on time and you're not, number one,